wonderful world of Disney.
And now, from the wonderful world of Disney, it's tough to be a bird.
You know, it is not easy being a bird. But what you gonna do, huh? I guess we birds are born losers. Now, just to put the record straight, listen to this. When we go splitting out across the sky, somehow we seem to make the buckshot fly. Folks keep objecting to our passing by. Man, it is tough to be a bird. When we are in a tree and singing loud, 'cause we are happy and we look so proud, we take a beating from the slingshot crowd. Man, it is tough to be a bird. With BBs they bang us, they even boomerang us. From eagles to sparrows, they shaft us with the arrows. They snare us, they trap us, and in a cage they clap us. Then what they think we need is last week's paper to read. They chase us off the statues we like best. They take our eggs and sometimes eat our nest. They pull our feathers out and call us dressed. Man, it is tough to be a bird. Yeah, we birds were born losers, all right. Would you believe we started out as fish? No, kid. We were part of a prehistoric group called Ostrocoderms. Then we slowly evolved into lobe fins. We could live part of the time in water and part of the time on the land. Now, quite some time later, we acquired some feet. We was tetrapods. When our hind legs began to develop, we became decodonts. Next, as proavises, we were soon running, climbing, and leaping around pretty good. Then one day we acquired some nice, fluffy feathers. And we really started to look and feel like birds. They called us Archaeopteryx. After going through a few more awkward stages, we finally developed into this fine feathered specimen, me. Of course, some of my relatives did not turn out as pretty, but unfortunately, we cannot all be a winner. Funny thing, but as I look back at the past 300 million years, I know exactly why it has been tough to be a bird. Our troubles really began with man. I mean, like you people out there. It seemed you could do anything most of the other animals could do. You could run, you could jump, you could climb, you could swim, and you even thought you could, You thought you could fly. And that is when you people started to give us trouble. When you realized you could not fly, you just had to respect us birds. We became an integral part of your life. Like in the early Egyptian language. Like, hairstyles for the queens. Like, falcons for the kings. It is well known that when Julius Caesar was looking for a symbol to represent his two empires, nothing seemed to please him. Until we birds came up with this two-headed eagle idea. Et tu, Brutus. Likewise. When early armies met for a battle, they depended on us birds to decide whether they would fight or not. They used the sacred chicken and some sacred chicken feed. The sacred chicken was offered the sacred chicken feed. If the sacred chicken ate the sacred chicken feed, that meant there would be a fight. If the sacred chicken refused, there was no fight. which is how we started the expression to chicken out. Educational, is it not? As your esteem for us birds grew, so did your legends about us. For instance, this here rock was just an ordinary bird. But every time you told a story about him, you kept making him bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Until finally he was carrying an elephant over the Alps. And then there was this tale that you told about this indestructible phoenix bird. You claim that if he got burned up, out of his ashes, a brand new bird would rise again. Phew. Another one of your myths was about this thing called a harpy, who had a beautiful vulture's body with a lady's head. Yak. Boy, was it a laugh when this guy named Icarus thought all he had to do to fly was paste some feathers on his arms with some wax. You know, this nearly worked. That is until his wings melted from the extreme heat of the sun. By now, you humans had become pretty frustrated. You thought if you could not fly, you would dump the problem into the laps of the gods. What a mess. Now think about this. If it were not for us birds, all you people out there would not be here today. You see, there was this fellow Noah. He sent this dove out to look for land. When the bird returned with an olive branch, Noah knew it was okay for him and all the animals to come out 2 by 2. Lions, elephants, mices, zebras, giraffes, mustangs, geeses, and lice. I got news for you. We birds were used by your early explorers as navigators because we usually flew in the direction of land. You remember what Columbus said, don't you? Follow that the bird. And Leif Erikson? Follow the bird. Both these boys claim to be the first to set foot in the New World. But we birds know who was here first. The problem of how to fly like a bird was still unsolved, so you called in the young genius Leonardo da Vinci. After spying on us birds, he designed a contraption that was supposed to fly like us. You see, even a genius could not figure out how we birds do it. To show you how preoccupied you have been with us birds, you made us an indispensable part of your everyday language. To elucidate, getting the bird, yard bird, bird brain, lame duck, bird dog, gooseneck, dovetail. Your literary tastes left a lot to be desired, too. That is, until we birds provided the necessary inspiration. For instance, it was a well-known fact that Edgar Allan Poe was having his troubles. Until a certain raven came along to make him a genius.
Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary.
Quote the raven, nevermore. Now, when it comes to music, what would a song be without a bird in it? Like Bird in a Gilded Cage. Well, let's all sing like the birdies sing.
Tweet, 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 tweet.
When the red robin. Listen to the mockingbird. When the buffalo come back from Capistrano. Buffalo! See what I mean? You gotta have birds in a song. Meanwhile, man was back at the old drawing board, still trying to figure out how we birds managed to get off the ground. Let us now face it, folks. Us birds have been extremely patient with you people, but you expect just a little too much from your fine feathered friends. You saw the stuff to which our names are linked. I bet you never even smiled or blinked. Guess you desire we should be extinct. Man, it is tough to be a bird. Although we want to live a life serene and keep our feathers and our noses clean, with human population on the scene, man, it is so tough to be a bird. $193,865,936,432. You know, it is estimated that there are over 100 billion birds in the world, and over 8,500 different species. But unfortunately, there are some species that no one will ever see again. I am referring to birds like the passenger pigeon, the heath hen, the great uck, the Carolina parakeet, and the Labrador duck, all extinct. That is the dodo bird. Even now, at this very moment, some of my buddies are on the brink of extinction. Birds like the whooping crane, the trumpeter swan, the peregrine falcon, the California condor. Yeah, and even our own national bird, the bald eagle. All these birds are on the critical list. So in order to save them and the rest of us birds from oblivion, I have started a new thing. It is called Birds Anonymous. Whenever you people feel like you want to shoot or destroy one of us birds, all you have to do is phone us, and we try to talk you out of it. Hello, this is Birds Anonymous. I guess I need a little more time to work it out. But unfortunately, time is running out. However, I wish to state there are some people who do care about us birds. I am referring to the National Audubon Society, better known as a bird's best friend. The Audubon Society is not only devoted to protecting us birds, but all wildlife. You see, they have these wildlife sanctuaries, camps, clubs, and centers all over the country. If you want to know more about nature, and especially us birds, pay them a visit sometime. The society is a wonderful monument to the man it was named after, John J. Audubon. Mr. Audubon devoted his life to painting some of the greatest bird pictures the Western world has ever known. Using very crude equipment, he went out into the wilderness, observing, sketching, painting, and taking notes on thousands of birds in their native habitat. Then came the gigantic task of making prints from his original paintings. For this picture of the bald eagle, Mr. Audubon made a preliminary watercolor the exact size of the bird. Then, he would complete the fine details in a second watercolor drawing. Next, it was transferred to a metal plate by a skillful engraver. On this black and white proof, the accuracy of the engraving was checked. Finally, the coloring of each print was done by hand according to Audubon's special notes. When these masterpieces were completed over 140 years ago, they became part of the monumental folio called The Birds of America, containing 435 life-size portraits of birds in their natural surroundings. How about that, huh? Is that something? In these beautifully designed pictures, Audubon captured the action and drama of endless varieties of bird life. With painstaking attention to detail, he recorded the birds' living habits, their flight characteristics, and their never-ending struggle for survival. You will have to admit, Mr. Audubon had a very special way of looking at birds. Today, people who enjoy looking at birds are called bird watchers. Lots of them start at an early age. Now, if you think becoming a bird watcher is all fun and games, you're right. These kids really have a ball learning all there is to know about us birds. After completing their basic training, these kids get some last-minute instructions and are now ready to start on their first bird walk. Naturally, we birds will cooperate and do all we can to help. Oh, incidentally, I know pointing is not polite, but in bird watching, it is okay. And that includes cameras, too. Uh-oh. This kid has got big troubles if he thinks this turtle looks like a bird. Gee. Now, how about going on an early morning bird walk to observe some real experienced bird watchers do their thing? I tell you, it is easy to understand why birdwatching has so many fans all over the world. But you know, it disturbs me that a lot of birdwatchers just look for the exotic types. I mean, the more glamorous birds, like this beautiful heron, the lovely snowy egret, the graceful scarlet ibis, the elegant crowned crane, and the proud peacock. Sure, everybody enjoys these beautiful birds, but what about some of the others? I mean the not-so-good-looking ones, like the buzzard. That is because to many people, the buzzard, or turkey vulture, is a very distasteful bird. I say, you people are just prejudiced towards my poor, repulsive, wrinkled, red-skinned, hook-nosed cousin. Because most people think of him as sort of a flying trash can, the buzzard has become the most misunderstood of all the birds. That is, except in a wonderful place called Hinckley, Ohio. For 364 days a year, this sleepy little town lives a very normal life. But on one very special day in March called Buzzard Sunday, thousands of birdwatchers from all parts of the country come here to celebrate the annual return of the buzzards to Hinckley Ridge. Okay. Just like the swallows return to Capistrano, these buzzards return here to roost just as they and their relatives have done for hundreds of years. The people come by car, by foot, all ages, shapes, and sizes, in any kind of weather, rain or shine, snow or sleet. The whole town makes ready to welcome these beloved birds back from where they have spent their winter. Festivities begin as the first bird watchers arrive for the Buzzards Day pancake breakfast. Everywhere there is a reminder of who the guest of honor is. For those who may not get a chance to see the buzzards return, There is a pet buzzard on hand for close inspection. All the budding young artists from the local grade schools pay homage to this gorgeous bird. I tell you, only a beautiful bird like the buzzard could bring out all the hidden talents of these young artistic geniuses. Meanwhile, out at Buzzard's Roast, as the scheduled time for the Buzzard's arrival is, the traffic is bumper to bumper. This is a great outing for the parents and the young ornithologists. For some kids, it will be their first experience at this historic event. Pennants, balloons, ice cream, all help to ease the tensions while waiting for the bird's arrival. Everybody keeps a sharp lookout. Some await the buzzard's arrival open-eyed. And open-mouthed, too. A TV camera records a buzzard imitation contest. As the 0 hour approaches, the park naturalist explains how to identify a buzzard. Using a lifelike dummy. Confidentially, this is as close as some of them care to come to Hinckley Zero. Uh-oh, I think the Rangers have spotted the first arrival. Yeah, it is official. The Buzzards have returned to Hinckley Ridge.
When the buzzards return to Hinckley Ridge, oh, every heart is young and gay. With wings outspread, they circle overhead, telling us spring is on its way. In Ohio, while we await our harbingers, in the shelter of the bridge, Mother Nature sends the word. She is giving us the bird. When the buzzards return to Hinckley Ridge,
Kind of gets you right here. I cannot deny that in Mr. Audubon's time, in order to study birds, it was sometimes necessary to use a gun. But today, I'm happy to say the gun has been replaced by the camera. Now you can shoot us birds as much as you like, just by using any one of these still cameras. Or, if you prefer, you could use a motion picture camera like this little beauty. You also have quite a choice of lenses. For instance, with a wide-angle lens, your picture is pretty far back. With a medium lens, you get a little closer. With a telephoto lens, you can get still closer. But with this super telephoto, hey, man, that's really uptight. Now for you bird lovers who take pictures, here are some do's and do nots on the filming of us birds. First, you gotta have film in the camera. Also, make sure you engage the sprockets correctly. And do not go threading the film in backwards. This makes us birds look very silly. Do not cut off our heads either. Oh yes, I forgot to mention the focus. Unless, of course, you're making an art film. And another thing, it is best to use a tripod to avoid the delirium trembles. Watch out for double exposure. This can be very embarrassing to us birds. If you can avoid all these mistakes, you are now ready. Today, to get good pictures of birds, you still have to go out in the wilderness, just as Mr. Audubon did. Only instead of paint and brushes, the naturalists go equipped with camera stuff. and somehow managed to get some very interesting bird pictures. I'm gonna let you amateur picture takers see some real naturalist photographers in action. Watch carefully now. You might learn a few tricks. You know, what really amazes me about these picture-taking people, they will go anywhere to get good bird shots. Yeah, and in any kind of weather. You name it, rain, snow, water, and all that stuff. But sometimes they are so busy looking through their viewfinder, they do not see what is right under their nose. Or over their head. In order to sneak up on us incognito, some photographers think they gotta dress the part. Like this here walking bush. Or this guy disguised like a floating log. Hey, dig this guy in a buffalo suit. Boy, that is something. You people actually think you're outsmarting us? To tell you the truth, most of us enjoy having our pictures taken. Just point the camera at us and ta-da, it's showtime. Of course, sometimes you run across a bird who's kind of shy. Or maybe a photographer who is a little too nosy. This mother hawk figures this guy is an intruder. She thinks he might be a danger to her family. If he would just take the time to explain that he only wants to take some baby pictures, I am sure it would be okay with her. Gee, some people never learn. Look at this joker. This guy is making like a mountain goat. He is going to climb all the way up that mountain. He is going to try to keep from slipping and breaking his neck. He is going to risk his life pulling up that camera stuff. He is going to leap over some slippery boulders. And what for? Just to get a picture of an eagle. Big deal. He could just as well see the same eagle on a postage stamp or on a silver dollar. Gee. There are a few camera creeps that even follow some of my relatives underwater. I tell you, it is impossible for a bird to have any privacy these days. This guy comes clear across the world to Africa to shoot a film from a special camera car. He sets his camera up on the roof of the car so he could shoot birds in any direction. Okay, everybody, quiet on the set. This is a take. Now, the biggest problem in shooting this epic is to try to get the cast to follow the script. I thought this picture was supposed to be about birds. Something tells me that this plump little pachyderm is trying to steal the scene. In the Everglades, bird photographers use a crazy contraption with a propeller called the airboat. I am sorry I have to say this. It does not matter how you dress, where you go, or how you get there. Getting good bird pictures always depends on the guy behind the camera, not us birds. So my advice to you is, try to get some exciting bird action shots, throw in a few interesting close-ups, sprinkle in some slow-motion photography, toss in some graceful flight patterns, and finally garnish with a catchy little tune like the Hungarian Rhapsody. As a spokesman for the birds, I have to admit that it was the camera, more than anything else, that helped you people understand us birds. The first man to really solve the mystery of how we birds fly was this ingenious photographer, Edward Muybridge. Almost 100 years ago, this guy rigged up a row of box cameras which took a series of still pictures of a bird flying. That was not a bad idea for a human, you know. But the guys who really dug us birds were special kind of artists called animators. The point I wish to make is, these animators really understood us birds. They figured birds were to be enjoyed, not destroyed. And to this, I hardly agree. For once in our lives, we began to have fun. We became movie stars. Yeah, that's right. Real celebrities. Our first big break came when we shared billing with a couple of unknown kids named Snow White and Prince Charming.
For you.
Then we were featured in the movie Bambi. We enjoyed an extended run in Pinocchio. Get a load of our first art film, Fantasia. Real culture. We were Sacco and Chicken Little.
The sky isn't falling.
I tell you, this too falling.
And I tell you it isn't.
This too.
All right. If the sky is falling, why doesn't it hit me on the head?
Then there was this musical called Peter and the Wolf. I think it should have been called Peter and the Bird. Alice in Wonderland? Man, that was a real freak out. Sometimes we even played the heavy, like in Sleeping Beauty.
You are my last hope. Circle far and wide. Go, and do not fail me.
An actor will do anything for his art. Finally, there was this rooster, parrot, and duck. Donald, what's his name? You know, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. It is easy to tell the fake birds from the real ones. The fake ones have to be wound up. Now, I would like to introduce you to a brand new species of bird, the audio animatronic bird. As you can see, he does just what he is told because he is mechanically controlled. These birds are also pretty tough, see? They are filled with nuts and bolts. This one is being tested for a part in the show at the Tiki Room in Disneyland. By crossing transistors with rheostats, adding a few thousand feet of air hoses, crossbreeding transformers and circuit breakers, plus miles of electrical wiring, the first completely computerized audio animatronic bird act is ready. And it is now showtime, featuring the bird's national anthem. A one, a two.
Let's all sing like the birds sing. Tweet, 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 tweet. Let's all sing like the birds sing. Sweet, 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 sweet. Let's all warble like nightingales. Give your throat a treat. Take your time from the birds, are you all knows the words? Sweet, 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 sweet.
Everybody will
us all.
Thank you. Thank you. My mother thanks you. My father thanks you. My sister, my brother, me, and all the birds thank you. But believe me, folks, it is still tough to be a bird.
Come on home where your good friends are waiting. Everything shiny and new. Come where excitement is playing. Walt Disney and you.
Come home to all your good friends. Mickey. Donald. Goofy. Herbie. Alice. Winnie the Pooh. Mary Poppins. Pollyanna.
You have a stubby little nose.
And many more. You'll see your favorite heroes, including Zorro, Davy Crockett, the king of the wild frontier, and Condor Man, Disney's spy in the sky. But there's no escaping the Disney villains.
You call that murder?
Lean on him.
Am I in your way?
He's not an agent of the CIA. He is a writer of comic books.
Hey, don't nobody know this is a holdup.
That rotten car is driving me piffy!
Fire that musket, and I cuts his throat.
Was that anyone we know?
He's your uncle?
Yes, that's why I happen to know Uncle Alonzo has a heart.
Want a light?
You're invited to enter a world of excitement. Suspense.
What did you see?
Surprise.
Dad!
And laughter.
Oh, my God.
A world of tenderness.
Please try to understand, Pollyanna. You're such a part of our lives now. Nancy and Angelica, Mrs. Lagerlof. And I love you as if you were my own little girl. Won't you give me that chance? Please.
Tears.
Tony, you've got to get out of here before it's too late, please.
Adventure. And music.
Oh, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
And more laughter.
Hey, you mangy cur, come back with my car! Get him! That shaggy dog just stole my car!
Roses and rainbows.
And more music.
You better take a look again.
That's just the way we like them.
It's magic. It's frightening.
Isn't this a clever disguise?
It's cute.
What are you supposed to be?
I'm a little black rain cloud, of course.
Silly old bear.
It's fun. And it'll take you by surprise. Are you ready for the Disney lineup?
You ready? I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready. You ready?
I said I was ready.
Come on home. See what's waiting for you. Waiting for you. Come on home where your video's playing. Good times are waiting, it's true. Come where your family is waiting for Walt Disney and you. Walt Disney and you. Walt Disney and you.
Now available from Walt Disney Home Video.
Great!